Alright guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. Today I want to rant on the new UFC Fight Night news. Obviously we know that the former champ Robert Whittaker is going up against RDR. Remember, I think it was announced a month ago. Maybe it was a little bit sooner than that. Point is, Dana White announced that Robert Whittaker was going to face RDR for a Fight Night. And then today, a couple hours ago, he announced the undercard for that fight. And I want to rant about, the main thing I want to rant about is Movsar Evloev, who's fighting on the co-main event. And he's facing Aaron Pico. Problem is, I freaking hate the fact that he's not fighting for the title. I'm so over Dana White. Now, I'm not saying that because I'm a diehard fan from Movsar Evloev. No, that's not the reason. The reason is because out of everyone in the featherweight division right now, the person who's most deserving of a title shot is Movsar Evloev, who is 19-0 and is on a, I don't know what number of fight streak he's on right now, but he's just undefeated, and he's pretty much beating almost everyone in the top 10 to get a title shot. But the UFC is not booking him. The reason they're not giving him the title shot is because he's not entertaining enough. First off, I want to say this: the UFC has been absolutely horrible with how they're promoting their fights these days. Back in the day, they used to do hella good promo. They used to do trailers and freaking world tours and all that BS. All he is today is he picks up a freaking camera and he records his bald head talking about the fights. There's no effort into the promotion. But pretty much he posted on YouTube Shorts. He posted on YouTube talking about the new fights in the undercard, and he talks about how Movsar Evloev is a co-main fight fighting Aaron Pico. And then he said that if Movsar Evloev wins this fight, he's possibly in the picture for the title. Possibly, bro, he should be for the title, fighting for the title right flipping now, not possibly. And if he wins this fight, there should be no doubt that he fights for the title. Now, the main reason I'm upset he's not fighting for the title is because I just know for a fact, I know. How much you guys want to bet that Dana White is going to make Yair Rodriguez fight Volkanovski for the title? Yair Rodriguez is the most undeserving fighter to fight for the title right now. He does not deserve to fight for the title. He's an interesting striker, sure, but he sucks grappling. He's the worst grappler on earth. Every single time someone brings him to the ground, that's it. He gives up. He just gets submitted. He was destroying Brian Ortega for the 3 rounds that they're fighting, and then in the 3rd round, he just takes him down, submits him. His last fight was against a former Bellator champ who is 38 years old and who's had multiple surgeries, was out of his prime, and it takes him to decision. And then he lost 2 fights back-to-back before that, and you're telling me he's deserving for the title? He does not. And it's upsetting and it pisses me off because it's I get that this is the entertainment business and there has to be a point where it's we gotta be able to sell fights. But they're not even doing that properly these days. They're putting on the worst freaking trash fights on earth. They're charging $80 for a freaking pay-per-view, and they put on the worst cards of the year. What? No one wants to see freaking Yair Rodriguez for Volkanovski. We saw that the first time, and he got absolutely obliterated. He couldn't do anything on the ground. He's never gonna be able to do anything unless he dedicates the time to just do nothing but grappling, which I don't think he planned on doing anytime soon. So it's why the rush to give him the title match? Plus, there's already beef between him and Lopez. It would be a great fight, a great storyline, because there would be a freaking phenomenal build-up of a fight and a great fight overall if Yair fought Lopez instead, because there's a storyline, right? We saw that at the conference when Lopez fought Volkanovski. There was beef between the two, and the UFC, if they did it properly, they can build off that and build up a phenomenal fight night, or even a co-main event, or not a co-main event, but somewhere on the card, right? But no, instead they're dying to have Yair fight for the title. I couldn't tell you why. My theory is that they want the Mexican champ hella bad, and they're trying everything possible to do that. So that's why, they're giving Yair all these undeserving shots, those title shots. But it's I don't know. Yes, I get it. This is the entertainment business. I'm aware. But at what point does the sport aspect come into play? Because it's there's so many people getting undeserved title shots these days. It's insane. I say all that because I want Movsar Evloev to fight for the title. What does a man have to do to get a title shot? He's not the most entertaining fighter. Yes, I'm aware. He's just a wrestler. He's a Dagestani wrestler. He mixes it up. He doesn't really have punching power like that. I'm aware he's not the most entertaining fighter. I get that. But who else on featherweight can fight for the title? I mean, you can have the only other, you look at the roster, right? You have Lopez, fought for the title, lost. Yair, he lost. He's on a 1-fight win streak. He lost the 2 fights before that. When he did fight for the title, he got absolutely demolished. You could possibly argue Gene Silva, but not really. He hasn't done enough to deserve a title shot. He beat Bryce Mitchell. Yes, he beat him in freaking dominant fashion. Good on him for doing that. But I don't think he's ready for that yet. So you look at everyone else in the featherweight division, and I know I'm missing a couple. I just can't really think of anyone on the top of my head. But point is, no one else is deserving except for Movsar Evloev, yet they don't want to give him the title shot. Like I said, I understand he's not entertaining, but there's no one else who's deserving to fight for the title. And at what point do you factor in that this is a sport and not just entertainment business exclusive? Like, the thing is, at the very least, if they were giving us good fights and entertaining fights to watch, I guess I wouldn't be too mad at what the UFC is doing these days, but they suck at all these fights that we're getting are the worst, all right? We're actually getting the worst. And it's gotten to the point where UFC has lowered their standards so much that when we get a slightly decent fight, everyone thinks is the best fight you could possibly think of. Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway. Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway is going to be a phenomenal. It's going to be a great fight. But come on. Like, you have that for the main event, and then don't even start it on the co-main event. Overall, I'm just upset with how the UFC is operating. I'm upset that they're giving these random fighters that the UFC holds bias to undeserved title shots, but then people who actually deserve the freaking title shot don't get it, either because they're unentertaining and whatever else. I get the UFC's entertainment business. I get that. But at what point do you incorporate the sport aspect and remember that you have, at the very least, you have to earn your title shot? I mean, bro, you can't even say it's entertainment business because the fights we've been getting recently are absolutely trash, all right? Compared to what we used to get. Come on, like, what are we doing here? But there's one more fight I want to talk about. Petr Yan versus Marcus McGhee. My thoughts on that fight are that I'm just confused because I'm not against it. It gives someone new a chance to try to get in the top 10. It's not bad because it's similar to Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint-Denis or BSC. You give a new fighter who's outside the top 10 a chance to, fight someone in the top 5. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You let the fighter get the opportunity to progress. The problem is there's so much better fights we could be making. Mainly Sean O'Malley versus Petr Yan, 5 rounds instead of 3. When they gave Sean O'Malley an undeserved rematch from Rob, I was actually pissed. I was genuinely so upset just because, like, what's the point? What's the point? He got dominated in the first fight, and as we know, he got submitted in the second fight. If Sean O'Malley had fought on the Umars, had fought on the grapplers, had time to really focus on grappling, really focus on developing his offensive grappling, going into the Murad fight and actually earning a title defense this time, he would have such a better chance than, not having a better chance. But instead, UFC favorites Sean O'Malley because he's this quote-unquote superstar, even though he's not. He's absolutely not. He has no charisma. He's not even that big compared to other fighters like Israel Adesanya or Conor McGregor or Khabib. But instead, the UFC, I don't know. I don't know why the UFC has this hyper fixation with this guy. So we could have been seeing Petr Yan versus Sean O'Malley, but instead now we're seeing Petr Yan versus Marcus McGhee and Sean O'Malley against, I couldn't tell you who since he just lost Murad. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next